So let's have a good look at the market dynamics. What's actually sitting behind what's going on? What's the sentiment doing? What's the whole reason behind this market dynamic? We look at FOMO, fear of missing out, as a big one. People are at auctions bidding against each other. They've missed out on 4 or 5 auctions and they're not going to miss out on this one, and they're actually bidding against people with the same level of sentiment. That's forcing the prices up. There's a general shortage of property, not in the way that you might think that there's not a lot of sales happening. There's a lot of sales happening. It's a shortage of property based on the level of demand. If we have 120 people through a property and from that 120 people, 30 actually want to buy it, only one person can buy it. And that's what we talk about when we talk about low supply. It's not necessarily the number of sales, it's the actual ratio of buyers to sellers in the marketplace, and that at the moment is completely out of whack. So that fear of missing out is a big factor. Obviously the cost of money. Interest rates never been so low. So in that sense, we can see how this all plays out. Now, when we look at that internationally, we look at the cost of money and we look at what's happening both from a Reserve Bank perspective and a government stimulus perspective, we start to see that this market's probably not going to change for a while yet. We do need more property to sell, and there's at the same time fear of missing out is a fear of actually being left out of the marketplace. So people are wanting to buy first before they sell, and therein lies one of the big problems as well, that we don't get the stock flowing onto the market. That buyer migration is another big thing. People coming from other areas. We've seen the Hills District move into the area. I've mentioned the eastern suburbs is a big push. The inner west, that lower North Shore, always the case. And then of course the migration from up and down the northern beaches. It's a fascinating dynamic and it's always changing. But what we really actually understand is one clear sentiment that's coming out of the marketplace, and that is the value of the home to people. The home is now more valuable. Why? It's because it means more to them. They've actually spent 2020 in lockdown. The home actually had more substance. It actually had that surety. It had that sanctuary element to it. It was a safety net. It was where you felt secure. So that living environment became more valuable to everyone. And therefore, as a result, everyone saw more value in it. And that's why we are where we are right now. So looking forward, what do we predict? Well, moving into the winter months, usually we see less stock, but we see demand continue, but we have to see that stock increase. It would be in everyone's interest to try and stabilise the market, particularly for first home buyers, because they've been active in the marketplace, but as prices increase and increase, and that gap between what you've got as a deposit and what you've got to borrow, that leverage of borrowing becomes a bit of an issue. So let's see how this plays out, but I would encourage everyone right now, it's a very, very strong market. If you were hesitating, if you're an investor, get into the marketplace now, because we still see further growth over the next few months. Property management's going great, of course. That is just rolling along very nicely. We're seeing rents quite stable, and therefore there's quite a bit of choice out there for some tenants at the moment. In the house market, much tougher because we have a shortage of houses available. We have a lot more apartments available, and therefore rents on houses are going up, apartments are remaining relatively stable. But for investors, I would suggest now's a great time. Again, cost of money is so low, you're actually getting a better return on your property net yield than you are getting from money in the bank. So that's one consideration. So stay tuned, we'll talk soon. Thanks again.